Being kind to yourself. I'll be honest, I struggled to find an appropriate picture here. And I could beat myself up about it. Oh, it's not very good, is it? It's not quite capturing the spirit of what you're intending here. But you know what? I had a good effort. I spent a long time looking for something appropriate. I think it does. It kind of captures the spirit, being kind to yourself. These guys just chilling out in the sun, next to the ocean, or maybe it's a lake. Maybe they've got a nice picnic and some gin in a tin. They're just having a good time, hanging out together. So let's do this. Let's do being kind to yourself. And of course, that was an example of me being kind to myself. Could have told myself off for not finding a good enough picture. But what would that have achieved? Absolutely nothing. Worrying about things doesn't achieve anything. Stressing doesn't achieve anything. Negatively forecasting all of the bad things that could happen doesn't achieve anything. You've got to be your own cheerleader. You've got to support yourself, encourage yourself. And we're training your brain through the gratitude that we've discussed earlier to see the good in the world and to see the good in yourself. We're going to cover a handful of ways in which you can start training yourself to be kinder to yourself. And this includes gratitude. We've talked about this in a previous module. We're going to go into it again about how expressing gratitude trains the brain to see the good in the world and the good in yourself. We're going to talk about celebrating your successes and doing so often. We're also going to talk about the internal voice that you run. We're also going to talk about looking after yourself health-wise. Because you're more likely to get things done when you're feeling well and you're happy with yourself, and you're pleased with yourself, and you're excited about the things you've done? Or are you more likely to get stuff done when you're feeling like crap, when you're tired, when you're grumpy, when you're annoyed with yourself? And of course, a positive mental state is much more conducive to getting stuff done. There's a reason all these positive thinking gurus are really successful, because they knuckle down and they get stuff done. They utilise all of these things in order to propel themselves along. So let's take a look at some of them now. There's so many reasons to build gratitude into what you do. And I've created this gratitude log to help you to do so. It's a 30-day log in which you express gratitude for 3 things every day. I recommend you give this a go for 30 days. And you know what? At the end of the 30 days, you should keep doing it. You don't need to write it down. Just express it verbally. So you can stand in the mirror and say, today, I am grateful for cute puppies. And I've filled out the example. You don't need to squint. You can download the example that I've filled out. The point of this is, by expressing gratitude, again, not to some higher being, not to a God or the universe, you're just grateful that something exists. You're training your brain to be grateful. How nice is it when people are grateful? It makes people like you more, makes people respect you more. People will warm to you, people will be more willing to help you. And it's just a really good, positive, healthy thing to do. And by doing it regularly on a daily basis, we're training the brain. We're training the brain to explore gratitude every day. And it will just become more and more a part. It will become habitual. And you'll notice the good in the world, notice the good in other people, and most importantly, you're going to notice the good in yourself. How often do you sit down and think about everything you achieved and celebrate it? Probably not very often. I do this on a weekly basis now. I've got a flip chart and I write down my successes and reflect on what's gone well What's not gone so well? What have I enjoyed? What haven't I enjoyed? People approach this in different ways. We've created a journal that you can download and use for this. You can fill that out as often as you feel is appropriate. You might want to do it daily or weekly or monthly. But just sitting and thinking about how far you've come, all of the successes that you've had, all of the adversity that you've overcome. Oh wow, you are a goal achieving machine, and you don't realise it until you sit down and figure that out. You can see how much you've accomplished and how much you've learned, and how much you've grown, how much you've developed. Talked about the critical voice in your head in a different module. We're going to go into it some more here because it's not real. It's full of Billy bullshit and you don't have to listen to it. It's easy enough to say that, but in reality, doing so can be more difficult. It's that voice that says, you're not good enough, you're going to fail. You can't do this. You don't deserve this. Why are you even trying? All of those sorts of things. So listen to it. Notice where it sits around you. Is it on your left shoulder? Is it directly in front of your face? Is it right behind you? Is it on top of your head? Notice where it is and give it a little wiggle and notice that you can move it. You've created it. You can move it. And move it around and notice how different it feels. Maybe when it's on your right hand side, it's different to when it's on your left hand side, when it's in front of you. Maybe it's really intense, and so you move it behind you, and it just doesn't feel like it matters anymore. Once you've figured out you can move it, you can also change it. Change it to someone ridiculous. Homer Simpson, cartoon characters that I'm struggling to think of right now. Fry from Futurama, maybe one of the Crystal Gems, anyone you like. Mr. Wooferson, the lovable but dumb dog. That's who I choose, and admittedly, it is a character that I've created purely for this purpose, but it works because he's quite dumb and he talks like this. When I change that voice to Mr. Wooferson, all of a sudden it loses its impact, it loses its power. So notice how changing it feels, and try a few different voices. Find out what works best for you. And now that you know that you can change it and you can move it, how about you just push it away? Further and further away from you, across the room, maybe even through the wall and out the other side so you can't hear it anymore. If that doesn't work, maybe load it into a little imaginary catapult and twang it into the distance where it doesn't mean anything anymore. Or move it to your finger and flick it away so it splats against the wall. You can try all of these things. You have the power over this creation because you've created it at some level. You don't have to pay it any heed. Do you know what? You can also start to crack holes in it by going, if you can find like one little element of it that's not true, you'll probably find that a huge chunk of it isn't true. And then as it starts to crumble away, none of it is true. These things come from somewhere. Unfortunately, in this kind of program, we're not able to figure out where, but we can deal with the effects of it. So give these things a go. I promise you that voice will stop bothering you. Because you know what? If you were as horrible to everyone else as you are to yourself, you probably wouldn't have many friends left, or colleagues, or anyone. You've got to be your own cheerleader. So share your successes with yourself, with other people. You'll start to notice yourself being kinder to yourself and to other people too. And lastly, your health really matters. You are not going to be effective if you're tired, if you're dehydrated, if you're burnt out. Get some sleep. Work hard, but get enough sleep. I know that if I don't get 7 hours, I'm bloody useless. So I have to make sure that I've got enough sleep. And I have to have a routine to make sure that I get that sleep, and that's all fine. Drink some water as soon as you get up. Drink a big glass of water. You've been asleep for a long time. You're dehydrated. You're not firing on all cylinders. So make sure to get that water in you at the start of the day, and a decent breakfast too. So similarly, you've been fasting for 7-8 hours. That's what breakfast means, breaking your fast. So make sure to get something decent inside of you in the morning. And drink plenty of water throughout the day as well. I am incredibly guilty of surviving on tea. I have to remind myself. I've got reminders in my phone. Hey, Robin, drink a glass of water. Get some exercise. I know not all of us enjoy exercise, but find something that works for you. Yes, I go to the gym irregularly, and yes, I do have to use my excuse log in order to go there. But tonight I'm going to be running around in a park being chased by monsters, and I play laser tag a few times a year, and I do these kinds of activities where it gets you up and it gets you moving. So find what's right for you. This can have impacts on all kinds of areas on your life, on your sleep, on your well-being, on how rested you are. It can affect your sexual performance as well. So, look after yourself. Get a bit of exercise. Get that heart beating. Get some cardio. Similarly, your work-life balance can really affect you. We've been talking a lot about putting a lot of effort in, a lot of time in, about taking action. Don't forget to have some time off. I cannot stress this enough. I've burnt myself out on a couple of occasions, and I ended up really acting out because I'd not built the time in. I'd not built the time off in, rather. I'd not built the play time in. I'd not built the downtime in. I'd not built socialising with friends. And I'm a natural introvert, so hanging out with people tires me. I need time away from people in order to recharge my batteries. So I have to build that in too. So don't burn yourself out. You're just going to be miserable and tired and feel like crap. Make sure your work-life balance is in there. And link to that, planning your rewards and fun stuff first. Get that in there. The last 2 points here. Never, ever be afraid to ask for help. I know I've said this quite a few times, but people are good on the whole. People will want to help you. People will want to see you succeed. Never ever be shy of asking for help. People respect it when you ask for help. If you're willing to put your hand up and go, I'm struggling here, or I don't know what I'm doing here, people really respect the honesty of people who are able to do that. In previous roles, I've messed up almightily on occasion. And if you put your hands up and go, I don't know how to fix this, can somebody please help me? People respect that, and they respect the honesty of you saying, I've messed up, I've buggered this up, I've got something wrong. So never, ever, ever be afraid to ask for help. Because like at Hogwarts, help will always be given to those who ask for it. So we've covered a bunch of ways in which you can be kinder to yourself and squeeze a cheeky little Harry Potter reference in there too. So we've covered gratitude, keeping a gratitude log or journal. We've covered that success log and celebrating your successes on a regular basis. We've dealt with that critical inner voice that does you no good. And we've talked about taking care of your health as well. Because if you're going to be effective, if you're going to get stuff done, you've got to look after your mind as well as your body.